Good morning, and welcome to another vibrant conversation. I am Elizabeth Williams, and today is the 23rd of September, and it's a beautiful, sunny autumn morning. And today I have the privilege of having a conversation with a very dear friend, Sue Gray. Now, Sue Gray describes herself as a sleep coach and therapist. And her speciality is helping people with sleep disorders, which could be anything from insomnia through menopause, pain, anxiety, any of those things that cause people to sleep poorly or feel that they're not sleeping at all. Her program, if you like, is very much a tailor-made program, and she doesn't use any drugs in the therapy. It's fast, drug-free sleep solutions. So it's wonderful work. And today we're going to be talking about not only the work that Sue does, but the reason why she does it and what's brought her to this point, which I think is fascinating. And just when I was looking at Sue's website a few weeks ago, there was a paragraph on there that really caught my imagination. I thought it described so beautifully Sue's ethos, if you like, behind her work. She says, "I'm fascinated by the mysteries of sleep. I love helping people untangle the threads," I love that have led them into insomnia and poor quality sleep, sorting out the causes and giving them ways to start sleeping well and waking refreshed. So that gives you some idea of where Sue is coming from. So Sue, good morning and welcome, and thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's really
nice.
nice.
Yeah, very honoured.
No, I'm thrilled you're here. So maybe you would like to give us a little bit of background history to start off with. Who is Sue Gray, and what has brought Sue Gray to this point of doing this work? Because that's not what you did for a lot of your adult life.
No, I didn't. For most of my adult life, I was heavily involved in developing affordable housing and working in housing associations, local authorities, and even government agencies, managing sort of large-scale programs. And to start with, I was actually sort of working on the front line, helping people with housing problems and trying to solve their problems, dealing with homeless people and people in insecure accommodation. And so I've always sort of had that love of working with people and trying to help them unravel their problems and sort things out. But it wasn't, I had no idea, of anything to do with sleep problems. As far as I was concerned, if you had insomnia, the solution was to go to bed and close your eyes and put your head on the pillow. I mean, like, what else? I mean, what could be simpler? And I just didn't understand it because I just slept like a log. I could even wake myself up when I needed to without an alarm at 4 a.m, get in the car, drive to Preston, making sure I was around Birmingham before 6, be in the swimming pool in Preston at 8 o'clock, swim 40 lengths, be in the office in Preston at 9:15 for a training course, probably asleep in the Excel spreadsheet behind the computer by about 3:30. Just have a night in a hotel and drive back again, It was just never a problem and I could never understand it. And then as I started getting more and more stressed and then getting ME and chronic fatigue, and I also got fibromyalgia and labyrinthitis, that's when my sleep really started to deteriorate. And I understood then what insomnia was. And all the complex bits around insomnia. And I had no idea about the power of your mind. Because as far as I was concerned, the mind is what you use to do Excel spreadsheets or, problems. And I did some meditation, so I understood that bit of it. But when there was no solution to my sort of ME, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia and all that stuff, then I started to look for alternatives and found neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, and Phil Parker's lightning process, and that's what I used to get well. And that is about how you use the power of your mind and the importance of your thoughts. So that your thoughts can take you to hell, and they can take you to heaven. Well, the lack of thoughts probably takes you to hell.
Yeah.
But that, you know, so your thoughts are just really so powerful. You know, you could just try it yourself. Just think for a minute of something miserable and sad, and takes you down like that.
Yeah, it does.
Think of something uplifting, like the sea scene or something, and you just can just change your state with your thoughts.
Changes your whole physiology as well, doesn't it?
Changes your physiology, and then that also changes the chemicals in your body.
Yeah, yeah.
Phil Parker's got a really lovely, like, 2-minute video about neuroplasticity made simple. I recommend all my clients watch it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because neuroplasticity is a fascinating subject, but quite complex. So it's called
neuroplasticity made simple.
Made simple
in 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes. And who's the chap again? Phil
Parker.
Yes. So he's the lightning
process.
Yeah. Is that something that people can find on YouTube, that video?
Yes, I think it's on my website as well. I just
is it?
Yeah.
Actually, just to interject, you have some fascinating videos that you've created on your website. I really do like the fact that you're very generous with the amount of information you put on there, covering all kinds of things to do with sleep. But yes, so thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some more I need to start making. I've had a bit of a break for the last.
But it's been summer.
Yes, and so I was doing a lot about sleep routines, evening routines, and I think the next one's going to be much more about sleep tips.
Yeah, that's useful.
Mental things that you can do. I mean, might not solve your problem straight away, but they are things that I use with my clients, along with the therapy and the coaching. But you know, if you've just got mild insomnia, then they might well just sort it out for you. Yeah.
And I do think it's generous that you have that much free information on your website, which is suegray.co.uk.
Yes, it is now. Yeah, it was. I did have one called helpmesleep.co.uk, but I think that's going to get merged back into the Sue Gray one.
Yeah, keep it all under one place. So going back, sorry I interrupted.
That's all right.
So you obviously experienced sleep difficulties yourself and a lot of other issues. So you got yourself well.
Yes.
And how did that lead into wanting to help other people? What was?
Well, I think I got myself well, you know, and I could function again. I didn't have quite enough energy to go back to work, but I didn't really want to do that. So I thought, well, I set up a business, and you know, I was just fascinated by the power of your mind. So I trained with Phil in NLP and hypnotherapy, life coaching, and then I learned to be a meditation teacher. But what I didn't sort out was my sleep.
Oh, I see.
Everything else started to fall back into place.
Right.
But my sleep was just chaos. Right. And I tried all sorts of things. I tried everything you'd possibly buy from Boots, the chemists. I tried all sorts of things online. I was the queen of pillows. You know, I almost had to have my own shed full of pillows.
I like the Imelda Marcos of pillows.
But so many insomniacs are. Duvets. Oh, I haven't tried that duvet. Is that going to solve my sleep problem? And pillows, oils, all sorts of things. But I think the root cause of my sleep problems was stress. And I think the root cause of a lot of people's sleep problems is stress.
Yeah.
And trauma comes under that. And just not feeling safe.
I was going to say, do you think that's because it taps into the very basic instinctual part of the brain that won't allow proper sleep, because when you're asleep you're vulnerable, you're not safe, like animals are on red alert, or got half an ear cocked, or in herds of animals, some animals are sort of on guard, if you like,
Yeah,
and they take it in
that's
turns and
absolutely it.
rotate.
Yeah,
So do you
yeah,
think that perhaps when we're stressed or traumatized, perhaps, yes, we're not allowing ourselves
yes. I think
because it's not safe to be absolutely out for the count. Could that be
yeah,
it?
yes. And so many people have got this little voice that says, "Wake up," just as they fall off to sleep. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Or they've been asleep for like 10, 15 minutes. Wake up. And then this sort of waking, because we go through a sleep cycle of about 90 minutes, and a good sleeper will just sort of come up to the surface, which is almost awake, and then go back down into sleep and not even realize they've been there in the morning.
No.
But a good insomniac, professional insomniac, will just carry on waking up. I think it's a lot to do with the inability to reset that safety button,
Yeah.
that you are safe.
Yeah.
But once we've been through a really stressful time in our life, we often don't feel safe, and that comes out in everything we do. And the news doesn't make us feel safe. A lot of the television programs that are on, they're thrilling and exciting, or they're very emotional, and they really go deep into things, but that doesn't make you feel safe.
Yes, and of course, if you're watching those in the evening and your mind doesn't know the difference between reality and what is fiction or what is being watched, and is reacting emotionally to everything that's going on the TV. Yes, I guess that's not a good state to be in when you go to bed, is it?
No. And that has an impact on your sleep, but also on the whole of your physiology.
Yeah.
And on the chemicals that you produce. So the chemicals and the hormones that your pituitary gland produces, and the rest of your brain produces, they're all to do with how you're feeling. The basic thing is, are you safe? And then from there, you've got, that's the most basic sort of human need, isn't it, really?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
The Asimov scale, I can't remember exactly not Asimov, what's his name? Maslow. Maslow scale. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's the really basic things that you've got to take care of. And so I never sorted that out. It took me a long, long time to sort that out. And I still get periods when I don't sleep so well, but actually it doesn't bother me anymore. It generally doesn't bother me, because I've got ways of just relaxing down and allowing whatever happens to happen. And that's sort of through my meditation. So, I can still have those periods, but, generally, my sleep is like a million times better than, it was.
I do remember at one time you telling me something really interesting that, how did you put it? It's like we have two sleeps, and you said that in history people would have a sleep and then they'd get up and they'd do stuff. What was that called?
Well, I think it was called first sleep and second sleep.
That's
There's a book called The History of Nighttime that talks about first sleep and second sleep, without going into a huge amount of detail. But also, I like reading sort of turn of the century detective stories, golden age mysteries and things. And you sometimes find references to first sleep and second sleep in those.
Okay.
That somebody's finished their first sleep and then they get up, and and that's when they heard the noise or something in the mystery.
Oh, in the mystery, yes.
Before they go back for their second sleep. And it makes some sense, because although people didn't have electric light, they did have lights, and people would, a lot of people would be able to afford to sort of light their homes. But generally, that people would go to bed when they were tired, have that sleep, and then wake, and perhaps be awake for a couple of hours, and then go back and have their second sleep. And it's interesting that the first part of the night is when you have deep sleep, when you go, but you don't have that, you don't spend the whole of the night in deep sleep, you just go down into deep sleep for sort of short periods.
Right.
And then the second part of the night is when you're more likely to have REM sleep, which is your dreaming sleep.
And we need both?
We need both, yes.
Right.
Each sleep cycle is divided into four sleep stages.
Right. And a sleep cycle is that of a variable length, or is that recognized as a length of time?
It's generally 90 minutes to 2 hours, except in a good insomniac, obviously that gets completely muddled.
Right.
But I don't think Fitbits and other watches really record your sleep very well. I know I had a great night's sleep last night and looked at my watch and it said I'd had like 2.5 hours broken sleep, and I thought, well, no, actually I haven't.
Mm, mm, mm.
So I think there's an awful lot of things. The more you focus on sleep, in a way, the more you chase it and you think about it and you think, what can I do next? How was my sleep last night? I better analyze everything. The harder it is to actually catch it.
Mm.
It's like a sort of cat, that's a kitten that's run away with your ball of wool. The more you chase, the more unraveled it gets.
Yeah, yeah. Are you finding now, as we've lived through the past 18 months, and people's stress levels and anxiety levels have been very high, are you finding that more people now are coming to you because perhaps previously they didn't have poor sleep, but now they're finding that their sleep has been affected?
Yes, there is that, and also people's sleep's been affected by COVID as well.
Well, that's sort of what I meant, really.
Yeah.
The anxiety around that and all of the
people's general levels of anxiety, have heightened, but also, people who've lost people in COVID.
Yeah.
That grief, and not being able to go through the normal sort of mourning process, grieving process. So I mean, there is. I mean, there's a lot more people's sleep is being affected. However, people believe, or the adverts and things on the television, that if you buy this product, it will solve your sleep problem. And I mean, I used to buy lots of things, and what I found that there was most of them actually don't work. Because unless you need to know what's causing your sleep problem, and then go out and buy. If you think that something's going to work, then go out and buy it. It's a bit like trying to tackle your garden, and going out buying grass seed and putting it on concrete. You've got to work out, exactly what it is you need to do.
Which is exactly why you
stress.
unpick and you get to the root cause.
So I mean, if you've got a sore back, then it may be that, and your mattress is really uncomfortable, then go try a new mattress. But it may be that you need to go and see somebody about your back. Or it could be that your back is just a sort of symptomatic of pain, of other stresses in your life. So I mean, I see people who've had bad backs for a long time, about to have maybe surgery because they can't work out what it is. And by getting to the root cause of the stress, you cure that pain. So stress is at the root of an awful lot of illnesses as well.
Oh, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. I would agree with you.
I mean, it is very tempting. But I mean, I am about to buy a new pillow, an expensive one, but that's because I've actually hurt my neck at the moment, and I'm lying awake at night. Always waking me up at night. Yes. Sort of lost the movement in my neck.
Right.
So there is a point to some of these things, but just taking something isn't necessarily going to make you sleep. If you've had a lot of ongoing stress, and sleeping tablets, they have their own side effects, and they don't give you good quality sleep. They might knock you out, but they get addictive. Then it's hard to get off them, and then it's just that another sort of cycle of stress associated with trying to get off sleeping tablets, because you can't stay on them for very long. The doctor takes you off them.
Sure. And then you're back to square one again.
Then you're back to square one, but almost in a worse state. Because then you're worried about, not just the insomnia returning or whatever sleep disorder you've got, but the getting off the tablets as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people are affected by people snoring.
Mm.
And people have always said, oh, well, you know, it's not the snorer's problem, it's the person lying next to them. I mean, to some extent, that's true.
Yes.
But, you know, all this research is being done lately, you know, on the impact of breathing, you know, on your physiology and on your mental well-being as well. And if you breathe through your mouth.
Can you do that again? That's fabulous.
Which I can store through my nose and my mouth.
Very good. I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Yes. If you're doing that for a large part of the night, or even just for a couple of hours, you know, that is really sort of disrupting your throat. It's taking unprocessed air, unfiltered air into your body. And you know, there's all sorts of that has a massive impact on your health and your well-being. So actually, you know, having getting sort of help with sort of hypnotherapy to deal with snoring is a really good idea. There's a lot of snoring pillows and things won't work, but they're usually a few sessions of hypnotherapy.
Really?
Or sort of NLP. I mean, sometimes you might need to get to the root stress underneath it, so maybe it'll be sort of 3, 4. But you know, it's not difficult to sort out someone's snoring.
Oh, now that I didn't know. I'm fascinated. I am fascinated.
Yeah, my husband snores, and every now and then, right, hypnotherapy time. I'm going to get my book out.
Yes. Yeah. You just whack him over the head with it.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly
and that sorts it out.
Yeah, it's a good hardback book.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah, that should do the trick. Oh, that is interesting. Yeah. I mean, I know that I don't know if you still see clients for hypnotherapy and NLP for other things, but I know that you most certainly did. But over time, clearly this whole issue of sleep is the one that's really caught your attention, and you've researched and you've really run with it, because that's the one that really speaks to you. Yeah.
Because I mean, sleep is always related to other things. So yeah, anxiety. So I still see people for, you know, all sorts of other things, and it's not necessarily they're going to be presenting with a sleep problem.
No.
So, for example, somebody with agoraphobia contacted me recently, and I've been sort of sorting that out. But then again, when you talk to her, you find out, yes, that she's got bad sleep as well. And the thing is that you quite often, as I found, you can sort out the root cause of something. And if you don't also deal with the sleep bit, then the sleep bit doesn't always just resolve as you deal with the root cause. Sometimes you need that extra bit of help.
Do you think it's almost that you have to, as far as the body's concerned, or the mind, let's say, you have to acknowledge the sleep side of it as well? Does that make sense?
Yes, I think you do. I think when you've got a sleep issue, you know, there's usually something else going on, and you need to look at dealing with both of them.
Right.
And quite often, as you dig deep into the sleep thing, you will resolve the issue that's underlying it. Whereas if you deal with the issue, you won't necessarily resolve the sleep thing. That's what I found. Other people may sort of find something different. But
well, that is really interesting. So that, yeah, the body needs you to acknowledge that, or the mind, or both need you to acknowledge that as well. What would you say? Well, maybe you don't know the answer, I don't know. But what is the actual purpose of sleep? Because we do spend, is it a third of our lives asleep? What's the purpose of it?
I don't think people really know, but it's something that people long for, you know, beauty, all the poems written about sleep, you know, the fantastic night's sleep and how you feel in the morning. And, you know, we really desire sleep. We long for sleep.
Yep.
And I don't think anybody really knows it, but I mean, you know, there's been theories going back thousands and thousands of years. But I do know that I do a meditation called Ascension Meditation with the Bright Path. And a lot of some of the teachers I know who in the sort of head, where the main teachers live in Spain, they were tested and got to just sit down and meditate. And within sort of 10 minutes or so, they were gone deeper than the deepest level of sleep.
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah. So that is a very refreshing sleep. I mean, I can rest and
Mm,
do some meditation as I rest and not need to actually necessarily fall asleep, but I haven't got to that point yet. But I can see how you could do that. And it's, with essential, I don't think it's particularly difficult.
mm,
You're obviously not gonna do it straight away,
mm.
but yeah, it's very interesting.
Wow, it is, isn't it? You're absolutely right that we do crave and long for sleep. Yeah. But I just wondered because I know you've done a lot of research. Um, I mean, I have heard over the years people speak about that's the time when almost like a filing system when
That's right, that's right.
experiences gets
Yeah.
put back into the what's it
Let's
almost
have
like
to
a
get on.
filing system.
Yeah,
What's the word
yeah.
for that?
Well, it's when you get your filing done. I mean, you can see REM sleep as, you're getting all the files out and putting things in their place and then cross-referencing them, which is why this memory from so long ago comes up, and it's, you could almost see it that way.
Right.
Um, and so it's sorting memories, it's processing them, it's putting things into your very, very long-term memory,
Yeah.
into sort of almost into archive.
Mm,
So the things that you don't need to have, in your sort of day-to-day awareness, you can put those into archive, and it does all of that. And then, but it's deep sleep as well. That, what happens then, because you don't really move. Your breathing slows right down. Everything slows right down.
mm, mm. And yet, I suppose the mind to one side, the body, perhaps during that very deep, deep sleep, maybe that's when the body's doing a lot of repair of tissue.
It's yes, it's doing all the repair work,
Mm,
but exactly what the point, the deeper point of sleep is. So I mean, it is repairing the body. It's doing all the storage of memories, cross-referencing things,
mm,
and all that stuff. But whether there's something much much deeper than that to be interesting.
mm,
And it's interesting that it seems that you don't have to necessarily go into 100% sleep. You can do it through deep meditation.
mm,
But whether that I don't know enough about that,
mm, mm,
because I mean there are so many theories about it.
mm. It is fascinating, isn't it, that it is such an important part of our lives. And you hear
It's what
many
we
people.
crave, and that's the interesting. That's what I can't get over. It's what we really, really crave is that sleep,
Mm, mm,
almost more than anything else.
mm. However, there are people who can most definitely function on less sleep. There are
Yeah,
people who really feel they're absolutely useless unless they've had a good 8 hours, maybe more. And there are others who seem to function fantastically on 4 hours sleep. I mean,
yeah.
I think Winston Churchill and Margaret Thatcher are two people that spring immediately to mind who apparently only slept for those short periods. I wonder if perhaps sleep is required in different amounts by different people. I wonder. I don't know.
I think there's lots of theories about it. I think there are theories coming out now that say perhaps we don't need as much sleep as that, as the 7 to 8 hours, and that it's a personal thing. I mean, I often don't get. I'll often wake in the night and sit and meditate,
Mm,
so I won't necessarily get 7 to 8 hours,
mm,
but I will be sort of sitting resting.
mm.
I function fine.
Yeah. And you've got that, as you said, about those people in Spain going into a very deep state in meditation. Everything's slowing down,
Yes.
breathing, your metabolic rate,
Mm.
and your mind as well. So, yes, I can see that that would be as valuable as what we term
Mm.
sleep. Yeah. Mm.
I tend not to bother reading lots and lots of theories about
Yes.
sleep.
Yeah.
Um, because then people just get in discussion, oh, well, this is right, this is right.
Yes.
I mean, and like, it's not going to sort out somebody's sleep problem.
No.
Yeah, and what I'm more interested in doing is helping people to sleep well, but also, you know, to find that state of peace and, you know, sort of connection with the universe or whatever, you know, but that state of peace within themselves.
Yeah.
Which a lot of, you know, processes I use, like core transformation and wholeness process, you know, and I think that you experience that, you know, take you to that state quite quickly of peace. And a lot of people have never sort of really been able to experience that. And to just be able to step into those sort of core states is wonderful. And then, you know, helping people then to sort of discover you know, how ways that they can, you know, have that in their day-to-day life. You know, not just when they sit down and meditate, because the theory that the meditation I do is actually doesn't matter what your meditation's like. You know, you're not sitting down to meditate to have 10 or 20 minutes or an hour of blissful peace. Get that. Doesn't matter what happens in your meditation. What you're doing then is just releasing and letting go of stress. You meditate or you ascend for the impact it has on your day-to-day life. So you could be the most experienced meditation teacher, but sometimes you'll sit there and all these thoughts and stuff just come through. It's just the energy of the universe just moving through you.
Yeah.
And you just sit there and you just watch it.
Yes.
You don't need to do anything with it. You don't need to push it away. You don't need to keep trying to fix things. You just let it be there and let it move through. And that's what you learn to do. So it's the impact it has when your eyes are open, not the blissful. I mean, sometimes you get these wonderful, that was a lovely meditation. But the really useful ones are the really busy ones. When you're just
That's so interesting. And actually, I'm sure that's very reassuring for people to hear, because I've done this myself so many times. I've sat there in judgment of,
yes,
this isn't right. This isn't meditation. I'm not doing it right. This can't be helpful. So that to know that is very valuable.
It is, isn't it? I mean, I'll still sit there because I get up and ascend on Zoom with other people at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'll say, oh, this isn't working. You know, I can't sit still. I just want a cup of coffee. Oh, I'll give up. I'll do it later. And then you would do that, and you think, actually, there was a perfect meditation. You know, you doesn't need to be quiet. You just, because the more you can just watch and not get involved in the thoughts and everything, and the emotions and the pain and the physical symptoms, the more you can watch them, the less involved you are in them. So if you can just sit there with your eyes closed and let all this stuff happen, and you're watching from behind your thoughts, from behind your eyes, it's not not the voice in your head. That's not you. You are behind that.
Yeah.
You behind that, the you that looks at that view and goes like, wow, that is so peaceful. You know, that look what you're doing, bit that you's back there, not the voices in your head, and you just watch. And then you start to be able to detach from things and not let things that bother you, whatever's going on.
And do you find that for some of your clients, because obviously you tailor make a program for whoever presents, do you find that for some people meditation plays a role in the therapy?
Yes. I mean, it's quite surprising how many people who come to me, you know, are actually interested in learning to meditate. And I mean, quite a lot aren't, but it's still, I get them to use something like the pink light technique and a couple of small things, because that they can be so healing. Yeah. So I mean, the pink light technique I've got up on my website, and that heals you and your relationship with other people.
It is very lovely. I remember you teaching me that about 2-3 years ago, and it's lovely. Yeah,
it's brilliant to teach.
Really like it.
And what it helped with kids, what it seems to be able to do is to help them not to be bullied or to be able to deal, with issues and people at school. So they're not sort of feeling that hurt and upset, because they can then just sort of cover these people in pink loving light. It sounds really strange. First of all, what you do is you have pink light emanating, loving light emanating from your heart around your body, and maybe you're putting yourself just outside of you, a bubble outside of you, and then you get a picture of yourself and you cover that in pink loving light. And a lot of people find that really hard because they cannot love themselves, and that's a really good indication that of where you need to be looking at, what you need to be looking at. And then the people close to them, a few other people, and then the people that you've got issues with. And if necessary, you move them away, turn them around, but it's covering those people as well. And also, the people you're close to, you also have issues with them, don't you?
Oh, yes.
You don't often have issues with the person that drove past you in the street,
Yeah.
And you're covering them with pink loving light. Now, you're only doing it for like a second.
Yes.
So you only do this for like 5-10 minutes a day. So you're only doing it for a second. So you just do it.
Yeah, I remember you saying almost like a blob.
Yes.
And you don't sort of dwell on it, and and then it's like next.
Yes. Next in line. Go on, next. Rush through it.
Yeah, it was. Thank you for reminding me. I must remember to do that again.
What it really helped me to do was, I think it was about 2018, I had this sort of realisation as I was on a retreat up in Yorkshire. And a lot of people were women at the end of it, were just sort of sitting down and, we're about to complain about our partners, And I was opening my mouth and I thought, no. And I had this realisation that actually Kevin's a perfect Kevin. He's perfect exactly the way he is.
Yeah.
There may be things that I don't appreciate. But you can't change anybody else.
That's a big realization. Yeah,
is to change yourself. And so I do also get clients that that also want me to try to fix their sort of families and things. And I had a good idea the other day, and I was doing the Amazon the shopping list on the Echo. Amazon Echo thing.
Excuse me.
Anyway, I had a good idea. I could go a bit out if you like. And I had this good idea the other day for a new product. Husband modification kit.
Oh yeah. I can imagine that coming towards Christmas, that would be a sellout. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Husband behaviour modification kit.
Oh yeah, but you're absolutely right. We can't.
Or partner. I should have said partner behaviour modification.
Yes. So it's not just for husbands. But you're right. Yeah, we can't change people, and I think perhaps a lot of people's anxieties, I don't know if you would agree with this, stem from not just a wanting to change and or control just people, but it's life, their environment, the things that are making them fearful, the things that are making them uncomfortable. And if for some people, if they can learn to drop that need to want to change, make everything okay so that I feel safe.
That's right, changing everything outside themselves, and that isn't going to work.
No.
Because we've spent thousands of years trying to get a better society, trying to get things how we want them, and it doesn't work. I mean, yes, we're going to crap time probably at the moment. And then you make some progress, and then that just goes again. But if you can change your relationship with it, and then as you do that, help other people to change their core state from anxiety to peace, without having but all of these things have to happen before I can find peace.
Yes. Yes.
But,
Yeah.
and then you start to then things can start to change.
Mm.
And even if they don't, I mean, it's your level of peace that's important.
Mm.
You know, you can't change anybody else. You know, you can have impact on people. But, you know, even with your own kids, they become their own people.
Mm. Mm. So really, for a lot of people, perhaps, you know, experiencing sleep difficulties, even if they are unable to perhaps initially identify the cause of it, they've got all this sub stuff going on subconsciously all the time, anxiety about all kinds of stuff and not feeling safe about and worrying about, but that it's at such a subconscious level that they're not even aware that it's going on.
That's right, because people think they've dealt with it.
Yeah, until perhaps they come to see you and you start to unpick things, and then
Yeah.
a penny drops and they realize just the level, just
Yeah.
how much is going on
Mhm.
that actually they've pushed away or they're not aware of, or they distract themselves from.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, you know, you were talking about television earlier. I mean, one of the things I do suggest to people is, you know, stop, if they can, just stop watching the news. And I mean, I always used to watch the news. I was always quite active, you know, politics and things. But actually, if you can just stop watching the news,
Yeah.
take your attention away from the things that that can cause anxiety, even if you think it's not causing you anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
then that will start to help you to calm down. There's an interesting, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was diagnosed with, I can't remember, some illness or other.
Mm.
And what he did was he shut himself in a hotel room for 6 months. So didn't have to go and make his own food or anything. But it was obviously a rich guy. And all he did was sit there and read comedies and watch comedies on the television. And he laughed and laughed and laughed every day. And at the end of 6 months, he went back and got tested and he was fine.
Wow.
Yeah. And that, because you can't laugh if you're not feeling safe. And that laughter is healing.
Yeah.
So there's sort of
Who is that
laughter
wonderful
yoga.
guy, Patch Adams? Do you remember Patch Adams? In fact, Robin Williams made a film about Patch.
Mm.
Yes, he was a doctor in a psychiatric hospital, and a lot of the stuff he did was around laughter and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And so, you know,
he
gratitude diaries can help.
Pardon?
Doing gratitude diaries, the things that you're
Yes.
grateful for, because if you're grateful for things, then you're changing the hormone, you're changing your sort of chemical balance from, oh, this has to be fixed, and then I've got to do this to-do list, and then, oh, that might happen, and what do I need to do just in case that happens? You just allow yourself to feel that for a moment, and then. And the things I'm grateful for today, I had this wonderful conversation with Elizabeth.
Yes,
And I walked the dog before that.
And it's the experience whilst walking the dog.
Yeah, and then talk about it. So you don't just listen to it.
Yeah, the
Talk
grass.
about how it makes you feel.
Yes. There's a wonderful lady who, in fact, I've interviewed, I say interview, we've had a conversation like this one, Gabriella Lerner, who is a health coach and many other things. But every so many months, she runs a gratitude challenge for a month, for 30 days. And I've done 3 or 4 with her. And it is wonderful. You end up in a sort of community with all the other people doing it. And it's wonderful because obviously once you've got past the obvious, you know, I'm grateful for my home, I'm grateful for my family, or the big things. Every single day you have to really start to get in tune with the tiny things that you just on a daily basis might just don't even notice.
Yes.
And once you really get involved in looking for gratitude, it continues, and it continues way beyond the 30 days, and it really impacts your life. Yeah, there's so much to be grateful for. Yeah. That's a really good point, actually, Sue. Thank you.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wish maybe get my clients to do that, because I do tell them to keep a gratitude diary, but actually doing something like that might be
Three
it. Yeah.
things every day they have to, and you can't repeat it. So if I said one day I was grateful for a sunset, which was stunning, I couldn't later on in the months be grateful for sunset. Or I could, of course I can be grateful for those things, but in the end of the day, I can't list those things. So it's really stretching you to, like, being grateful for not just the fact that this is a water bottle, not just the fact that this is a water bottle that keeps my water cool, but the feel of it.
Yeah.
So it's becoming aware of textures, sensations, smells, the flavor of your cup of tea.
Mhm.
Yeah, it opens up so much more. And I'm sure that you would probably agree with this, that then releases different hormones to the stress anxiety hormones, which then help with the general well-being, which then eventually help with sleep.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm,
It's switching those on.
mm.
And, life has become, although I think life has always been quite stressful. I mean, I think you always look, I think each age looks back to a time when things weren't so stressful, but things were different. But were they less stressful? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point, isn't it? Yes, we all seem to have our own idea of a golden age. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's sort of reading books that are written like 100 years ago or 150 years ago, 200 years ago, again, looking back to those,
Mm.
that Merry England or something,
But what was it really like to live in that
probably
Merry
got
England?
horrible.
Gosh, yes, yes.
I mean, people burned each other at the stake for being the wrong religion.
I'm sure I've been burned at the stake in a previous life. Yes.
I mean, you could be burned as a witch.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm sure I have. Yeah, you're right. So was life. No. No, and we tend to look back at our childhoods and imagine that the summers were always longer and sunnier and that
Yeah,
life was carefree. But actually, my childhood being sort of 60s, 70s, there were some really tough times during the 60s,
yeah.
70s. So yes, it's not
I
true.
mean, my mother had, she lost her baby,
Mm,
second baby, and she nearly died of septicemia. She was ill for about 8 weeks,
mm,
and she must have gone through postnatal depression.
mm.
And I mean, I remember being off living with my aunt for a while, and then my mum doing a lot of painting, and I mean, she must have had that,
Mm.
but there was no care for that. There was no
No,
help for that. It was
no,
pull yourself together.
no.
There was very little antenatal care, and that was
Mm,
probably late 50s.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. Whereas here now,
Very
thankfully,
ill. Yeah.
there is so much help available, including you. Lord, but I'm so happy to have spoken to you today. So yeah, anything else you want to add that you think is relevant?
Um, yeah, just if you've got a sleep issue, you look at getting help rather than spending money on products.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point.
Unless, you've really got a particular issue. As I
Mm.
say, I need to get a pillow that's gonna help my neck.
Yeah, that's
But
different.
again, even pain is often to do with, stress and things like that.
Mm,
But just investigate it.
mm,
Have you had sort of stressful times, in your life?
mm,
And then because if you deal with that,
mm.
then then that is resolved. If you just try to use sleeping drops or sleeping tablets, then the stress and things like that will come out in some other way.
Yes, 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 yes.
It's like you've got a fire or something, and when you bring out smoke and you sort of close down a chimney, then it'll come out somewhere else.
Mm. That's so true. Yeah.
And laughter and joy.
Yes, very important. Very
I think
important.
they can go a long way to helping.
Well, thank you. And I can honestly say, yes, if any of this, resonates with you, give Sue a call or go to her website. You've got your contact details there. Do you have a Facebook page specifically for work?
Yes, Sue Gray, Help Me Sleep.
Sue Gray, Help Me Sleep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sue. I really appreciate it. And sleep well with your pillow for your neck.
Yes.
Thank you. And are you going to go and have a swim today?
I think I might go up to Sandwich Bay this afternoon and have a swim. Do you want to come?
Not Sandwich Bay. I might go and have an impromptu swim in Warmer this afternoon. Yeah. I did yesterday. Yeah, it was lovely.
I find those stones just too hard.
I know. No, Warmer's my favourite place. I know Sandwich Bay is yours. So.
Yeah, if I could get down the stones, I'd do it.
We will be swimming.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much for today. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Yes, Bye.
Bye.